It was really beautiful to watch everybody work, and I learned something every day from everybody,
Same.
especially that woman right there.
Shoot.
No, we weren't looking for anything to do together. I don't think we've ever quite even thought about it. We were sitting at home and I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. And typically I don't answer those numbers because you never know who it's going to be. But I answered it and it was Taylor. He was asking me if I liked Yellowstone. Of course, Faith and I were huge Yellowstone fans from the very beginning. And he wanted me to come on and do a scene on Yellowstone. And if I'd be interested in it, and I told him I certainly would be interested in it. I love the show, but I don't want to be, some singing cowboy that hangs out in the bunkhouse for a little while and gets taken to the train station at the end of the episode. I'd like to come up with something a little more interesting than that. And he said, give me a few weeks. And then he called back and he had the idea of doing the flashbacks with the original Dutton that founded the ranch. And then he said, you'll have a wife in this. Do you think Faith would be interested in it? And told Faith about it. And she was like, "Well, heck yeah!"
Heck yeah! I got a wife sitting right over there. She ain't doing anything. Come on.
Might as well. We weren't touring. Nothing was going on. So we took a road trip to Montana and spent a couple of weeks and shot those flashback episodes. And then a couple months after that, Taylor called and said that he had showed the rough cuts of the flashbacks to the studio, and they wanted to buy a whole season. And then the process began.
You James Dutton?
Yes, sir.
Mind if we speak?
Whatever you're selling, I ain't buying. My family's meeting me here tonight, and we're heading north. And we'll keep heading north till I find country's worth the journey.
I admire your courage. But you're gonna pick a fight you can't win before long.
What's that for?
Not sure. But I'd sure hate you don't have it when we find out.
This journey will be dangerous all the way to Oregon.
We've been approached to do things together in the past, but just hasn't been the right project. So after we started reading episodes that were coming in from 1883, Taylor was sending them, the first 3 or 4 got pretty quickly, and then they were trickling in, and we were hooked right away.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, it was like, wow, this is one of the most incredible things we've ever read, ever. The thought of being able to do something of that writing together with Taylor was a true gift, and couldn't say no. Thankfully, we were both able to do it and available, which is so rare.
Yeah. We didn't want people to look at the screen and see Tim and Faith. And we knew that was going to be something that we had to overcome. And we looked at each other and said, the only way to overcome any of these obstacles is to just go kill it. And we sort of gave each other a high five and a kiss and signed the contract.
There's no gentleman where we are, and none where we're going. I'm worried it's not fair.
Did you marry a gentleman?
I did not.
Worked out all right for you.
Oh, yeah. It worked out great. Just like I dreamed it.
What would you change?
Not a thing.
I was in awe of Faith every day. I mean, she showed up and just delivered just fantastic scenes every single day. And then watching it back and I was just so full of pride. She elevated me every day and made me better.
Aww.
Just watching her and watching how good she was and how professional she was. I know how good she is, and I know how whenever she tackles something, she's going to give it everything she's got. I can honestly say that she just completely surprised me and blew me out of the water of how good she was.
Obviously, I've seen him work before in film. I've seen it in person, and I've seen the end result. He's a true actor. And it is a craft that is to be respected. It is just not something you just jump up and do and like, that's just acting. Well, it's real and legit. I did not want to disappoint. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Taylor, of course, the other actors, myself. but particularly my husband. I did not want him to walk away from there going, holy crap, what did we do and why? Because of me. Watching him do his scenes. I remember the first day that you filmed, your first scene was with Sam Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
I
know.
there.
How about that? Yeah.
I know. How about that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't believe you can still walk through the door of our house. Your head must be so large, but I'm just kidding. I just sat there and I was just like, wow, whoa, I gotta really know I mean, just like, I didn't think about another thing. It was just Margaret and James for me. And because we've been married this year, 26 years, this is the only thing we've never done together professionally. And so for me, it was really important that we didn't run lines together. We didn't talk about the scene that we were going to be working on the following day together, ever. Well, I have not done this as often. For me, the only way to find that true spontaneity, the authenticity that needed to be real in the moment is to experience it for the first time in the moment.
We realized coming into it as well that we had a pretty high bar to reach for people to not see Tim and Faith on screen because, of our careers and being married for so long, and it'd be hard. It's going to be hard for people to not just see Tim and Faith. So that, in my mind, that was one of the reasons I didn't want to run lines together and really work on scenes together, because we didn't want to bring us into us sort of metaphorically because of our relationship and our chemistry and all those things, but we didn't want to bring Tim and Faith into the scene. We wanted it to be all James and Margaret all the time.
Just to grab every opportunity that comes along and just grab it by the horns and just freaking go for it. If you've made the choice and the decision to do something, then do it. And do it like it's the last time you'll ever do it again.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's my spirit. What a remarkable character to play for a young woman. I mean, I just found it to be just so inspiring, and I could not wait to see what she was going to do with it. And she soared. Like, she carried, it gives me chills to just talk about it. And she's just so extraordinary that, her life will change because of this. There's a few places within the series that I seriously can not even speak about, because I had to go to such places to get what was needed, that I just can't access that, and I won't allow myself to think about my own children or our children. I just can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I just have never been able, and I will never. I just don't think in that way or use that for anything, inspiration but I did have a place, and it was tough, and that was tough, what she said, see you in the valley. I mean, the thought of, many families have dealt with that, throughout millennia, but right now, the world is in a very challenging place, and there's a lot of that kind of departure, separation that's happening in real time, in real life. And I can't imagine not being with my child in their final moments of life, ever. So it was tough. The hardest part was not just completely breaking down and just being, nothing but just crying a river. Because I always told the director, once I start, it's going to be tough for me to stop. I did not go to Montana to watch Tim and Isabel film the final scene because I was filming that day. So I saw it for the first time when everyone else did. And it was powerful.
Some of those scenes to not cry and still be emotional was really tough for me. Some of the scenes to try to hold it together and show the subtext of the emotion that you have without really letting it all go and letting the audience have that experience and not you having that experience. But shooting that particular scene, we shot it maybe 3 or 4 times. The very first time we both, Isabel and I both, were just a blubbering mess shooting the first take of it. And then Taylor said, all right, we got that one out of the way. Now let's go shoot it. And it was really, you're having the conversation and you, like Faith said, you try not to think of your daughters in any sort of context like that because you don't want to put that out into the ethos at all. So you sort of keep that in your back of your head. And Isabel, the scene that we ended up using, and I think it was the next to the last take we took, she's laying in my lap and we're getting ready to shoot. And she just looks up at me and says, what's the thing you love most about your daughters? And then they said action. And it just tore me apart. Absolutely tore me apart. I mean, it was perfect timing on her part. And I think the entire crew was crying at the end of that scene.
See you in the valley, Mama. I'll see you there.
1883 is done. The story's told.
And I think it ended perfectly. I think it was a beautiful 10-hour movie. Personally, I think that these characters sort of should live in sort of an eternity in that world that Taylor created. And I think it's one of those things that's going to stand the test of time, and people are going to watch it over and over. And, hopefully 10 or 20 years from now, it'll still be a classic Western show.
Yeah.
And I want it to stay that way. Oh my gosh, there's so many unsung heroes, crew members on this show. There's so many catering was fantastic. We got to say Gator with catering was pretty fantastic. But I would say the Wranglers would be somebody that I would and not discounting anyone else, but the Wranglers were so good. They got the cowboys that were on set that were helping us every day and showing us the right techniques and how to handle things the right way where it looked authentic. I mean, those guys were spot on, and they were so helpful. They did everything they could to make us look good.
It's impossible to name one person, honestly. From the Wranglers to the guys running the cameras and moving the cameras through some crazy terrain and crazy weather. All the runners and constantly asking if you needed something warm to drink. I mean, seriously, it was an absolute group effort. We would not have been able to do what we did without those sets and the costumes being so amazing. Yeah. And without being trained the way we were by the great Wranglers. And so I know it's supposed to be a rapid fire question, but it's impossible to answer that one.
Wow. Well, scene stealer on our show was Audie Rick for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we kept putting him in the back of the wagon, because nobody wanted to be in a scene with him. Because he would steal it every time with those eyes and that little talk that he had, the way he spoke. I mean, it was just so endearing. He was such a sweet kid. So I would say Audie for sure is sort of the breakout, scene stealer for me on our show.
Gosh, I mean, Isabel May, just talk about that all day long. Mm-hmm. James, yeah, my God, there's James, so many. Jeez,
Landry Hebert and Eric Nelson. Yeah, what the best thing about this, I think the best recognition that this show could get is for the ensemble. I think that the ensemble cast was just so spot on from the smallest part to the largest part. Everybody brought their A game every single day and just really delivered. There's so many. I love Succession. That's probably one of my favorite shows. So Jeremy, I think's his name, that plays the son. Yeah, that would have been a fun character to play. And I mean, I couldn't have ever kept up with how great he is, but that would have been a fun character to play. I think Faith would want to be Beth on Yellowstone.
No, she's so amazing. I mean, she's only Kelly should play that. She's incredible. I'd like to be. Wait, does Ted Lasso have a sister? Anna play his sister.
There's a good next season right there.
Love
that's a great show.
So much, and oh my God, everyone who knows me knows that I'm the goofiest, crazy person around, and that'd be fun to play.